Welcome to SDC 2020. I'm Richelle Ahlvers, Chair of the Scalable Storage Management Technical Workgroup, which produces the SNIA swordfish specification. I'm also on the SNIA Board of Directors. In today's storage management track, we have a lot of great content. I'm going to provide you a quick snapshot of what kinds of things we'll be covering and talk a little bit about what you might be interested in seeing. First of all, what do we cover in storage management? There's a broad range of functionality included in this topic, and it forms the basis for a lot of other layered capabilities. Fundamentally, though, we focus on block, file, and object management and configuration, as well as a connectivity of single and multiple devices to consumers of that storage. This includes functionality like configuration, monitoring, log collection and analysis, diagnostics, capacity management, and event notification, among many others. So what kind of topics are we covering in this year's SDC? Well, I'll go over that in a few minutes and also give you a few recommendations on the order to watch the various presentations in the track, and a little rationale as to why as well. We'll also provide a little bit of information on some of the storage management standards we have going. Fundamentally, our primary focus, which is redfish, this redfish provided by the DMTF, and our very own SNIA swordfish specification and pointers on where to find them. And once we're done with all of that, we'll talk about some of the other presentations in the SDC tracks as well as BOFs that you might also be interested in attending today. All right, jumping right in. Here are all of the SDC tracks in the storage management track today. First of all, and these are listed in recommended order. I'll kind of walk you through why. First of all, SNIA swordfish is actually built as an extension of redfish. So that gives us a good logical starting point. Let's learn first about redfish. The first presentation on redfish, though, doesn't just provide an overview of the redfish standard. It also talks a little bit about HP's implementation of redfish, and also, having done so, why they're interested in adding some of the swordfish specification content to their implementation in the future. That leads us into what is swordfish. So the next presentation we would recommend is then going into the swordfish overview and deep dive. If you've seen this material before, you might be able to skip it a little bit, although we do have a few new areas that we go into in a little bit more detail in the deep dive sections than we have in the past. But this really provides an overview of what is swordfish, what are some of the various elements, how is it constructed, how does it extend redfish, what are some of the, and how does this work? How do you navigate your way around? It's got a few examples in there. And then we also jump in and talk a little bit about how some of the various elements in the system work, and compare different types of schema that are available for you to use from an implementation perspective. Okay, that's great. But what have we been adding since the last time we talked to you at SDC about this last year? There's a lot of new elements here. I didn't actually list them all out here. You can go look at the full abstract for the what's new in SNIA swordfish, or you can just come to this presentation and listen to me give you an overview of all of the various elements. Some of these are previews of some of these other presentations, like the next one in the list. If you don't have time to come to the complete presentation on NVMe and NVMe-OF, you'll get a preview of it in the What's New. But if you're interested in NVMe and NVMe-OF as a technology, then you'll be very interested in coming to the NVMe and NVMe-OF configuration and manageability with swordfish. This is a key area that we've been working on, and this presentation highlights a lot of how we've incorporated the management of NVMe and NVMe-OF into both redfish and swordfish as an integrated solution, and talks through both the use cases, some of the specific use cases that we've been working on, as well as how we've mapped those management models together. moving on down, then we start to talk into some implementation considerations. So we've talked a lot about what's there and what's in the specs so far. Now we move into thinking about implementations even a little bit more. So our next presentation comes to us from Cisco, and what Cisco is going to talk about here is taking their existing implementation from a redfish perspective without swordfish to functionality needs that swordfish addresses and how they're migrating their infrastructure forward to incorporate that using swordfish. So this is a great track if you are in a similar boat looking at, how you might be interested in taking an existing implementation and leveraging that forward. Ask questions in the Slack channel along here and get started yourself as well. One of the next things moving forward again is learn about the SNIA Swordfish Conformance Test Program. Coming new this year, this is getting ready to roll out. Find out where it is, how to get engaged, what's going on, what the base requirements are for our initial implementations, and how to increase demand for your products with the Swordfish Conformance Test Program. And then our last but not least, our last presentation is Zero to Swordfish implementation using open source tools. Help to ramp up your implementations by learning about all of our tools that we're providing to help accelerate development of any swordfish implementations, and what tools we have that are both provided by redfish as well as swordfish, and some of the tools and programs we're providing to help along those lines. So that's it. That's the overview of the storage management track, and also hopefully a little guidance on how to work your way forward through those. For pointers to information about our specs and about all the supplemental information we have on that, go to SNIA.org, and then specifically for swordfish, go to SNIA.org/swordfish. You'll find pointers on this page to all of the different resources for swordfish. In particular, you'll find the specs, user's guide. You'll find links to our GitHub for our swordfish tools, all of our open source tools. We'll talk about those more in a minute. Also our practical guide targeted at our implementers, and several other pieces of documentation. We also have the Swordfish Mockups site. This is at swordfishmockups.com. This will give you pointers to static implementations, representations of implementations, to give you an idea of what swordfish implementations might actually look like. These are a great both development tool for us at developing the spec, as well as development tools for folks working on initial implementations. There's also a broad range of education information in the form of white papers, presentations, YouTube shorts, and webinars. Go to our YouTube channel, the SNIA website, the SNIA channel on YouTube, and find the Swordfish School videos as well as a ton of other resources. And then, learn how to participate, join us, and get even more information. I'll get more on that in a minute. And then, of course, participate with the conformance program. So I mentioned the open source tools. These are all available at github.com/SNIA. We have these in several categories. We have the emulator, the Swordfish emulator, that helps you move past those mockups into an emulated environment. We also have the basic Swordfish web client. We have a couple of sample integrations that give an idea of how higher level management applications might consume swordfish functionality of swordfish from swordfish implementations. There's also the Swordfish PowerShell toolkit. That will be covered in quite a bit more detail in the tools toolkit. In fact, most of these will be discussed in that one. All right. Thank you. And again, here's these specific pointers. I've covered most of these for you already. Remember to look for pointers to everything at SNIA.org/swordfish. If you are not a member of SNIA or want to ask questions in a public forum, go to swordfishforum.com. If you are a member of SNIA and would like to join the TWIG, please check us out at snia.org at /member_com/join-SNIA. That's a lovely one to try and remember, but you can just find us at members.snia.org. And also, if you'd like to help promote Swordfish or functionality and marketing education around storage management, please consider joining the SNIA Storage Management Initiative. Here are some related presentations that you may also be interested in viewing that talk about other elements related to storage management. For some areas where storage management is incorporated into higher level functionality, such as orchestration, the orchestration track has several topics. Here's some examples. The SODA, One Data Framework, Infinite Possibilities, talks about and includes an environment where Swordfish is used as a standardized infrastructure to feed in functionality for orchestration. Predictive analysis of storage health and performance talks about using basic storage management capabilities in order to provide this capability. For more NVMe and NVMe OF content, there are 2 full tracks for NVMe and NVMe OF functionality. There's tons of tracks there or presentations there within those tracks to look at for learning about the base technologies, but more specifically related to storage management, I would recommend looking at the NVMe 2.0 specification preview. This is going to highlight how the NVMe and NVMe OF presentations are going to, or specifications are going to be brought together into a single spec and consolidate a lot of the functionality and do a lot of cleanup moving forward. Take this opportunity to maximize your SDC 2020 experience. Also, another related topic is participating in the online chat for this track, and also check out our BOF session. We have a session later today, assuming you're listening to this on Tuesday, the September 22nd. So this will be a live session. We will try and have this recorded as well, so it'll be available offline later. But this is, once you've listened through all the tracks we've talked about here and now are becoming an expert, come meet some of the experts that help develop these presentations and technologies, and then work to help speed your Swordfish implementation. Ask us questions and let us know what we can do to help accelerate your implementations. Also, be sure to rate each session. You'll see a box under the video. And if you need additional details, see the Intro to Virtual SDC video. And last but not least, enjoy this virtual SDC 2020 event.